Hello and welcome to Tip Top C# tutorials. In this Azure series video, this part we will get to know more about cloud service models. So we will cover three service models here. The first one is infrastructure as a service. The short form is IaaS. The next one is platform as a service or PaaS. And the final one is software as a service, also known as SaaS. Infrastructure as a service. In this service model, the cloud service provider or CSP offer the infrastructure as such as compute, storage, and network to the cloud user. The cloud users need to configure the infrastructure and install required software for making it ready to use, meaning that it's not ready to use. You can avail virtual machines, but you are responsible for installing operating systems and drivers, etc. onto it. The final point about IaaS is the cloud user has control over how to set up the infrastructure according to the requirement. Basically, whatever the business demands. For example, configuring high availability and scalability, we need to avail as many number of VMs and we need to set up the necessary networks so that multiple services are being served by the given number of virtual machines. That's what we mean by uh, having control over the setup. Platform as a service or PaaS. In the service model, the CSP offers the development platform along with the software. So we don't need to worry about how to deploy. We don't need to worry about the operating system updates, etc. It helps the developer focus on business logic implementation, basically the application development, as they are freed from the infrastructure dependencies. They don't need to procure the OS. They don't need to procure different drivers for the OS. The CSP manages patch and updates for the operating system and the system software, such as drivers. The only responsibility of the developer is to develop the application and database and deploy it to the uh, cloud environment. The final service model, software as a service or SaaS. In this model, a software that performs certain business logic or domain logic is offered as a ready-to-use service. This is intended for users who wants to use the software based on a pay-as-you-use model. For example, if you have a software to be used every 3 months in a year, you don't need to buy the entire software as a product. You can just subscribe to the service and use it for 3 months in a year and just pay for it only for 3 months. That is the whole idea of software as a service. And in this model, the cloud service provider, basically who is hosting the software, they manage the underlying software and hardware stack. So you are freed from the entire infrastructure and platform and software. That's about software as a service. Let's compare all these things at a glance. In IaaS, uh, the blue block contains the areas where the user has to do some work. In IaaS, applications, data, runtime, middleware, operating systems. All these things have to be chosen and set up by the cloud user. Whereas virtualization, servers, storage, and networking, this is part of the infrastructure provided by the cloud service provider. When it moves to PaaS, you see that only application and data have to be there by the user. It is in the user segment. So even the runtime, middleware, and operating system have moved to the vendor's bucket. And finally, when it hits SaaS, you see even the applications and data are being taken care by the vendor. The cloud user just need to consume the application. Okay. Now that we understood the comparison and contrast between these three models, let's go through some examples. Service name, first we will avail a set of virtual machines we need to consume. So this is on demand. Some days in a month and some months in a year you need to use virtual machines, and you are getting it from AWS, Amazon Web Services. This model is IaaS. You are just making use of the IA infrastructure and setting it up and making it ready and use it for your use. There's a second example. A company is using customer relationship management software. It is running on salesforce.com. So this is a perfect example of software as a service. The company is not setting up any hardware. It's not setting up any software. It is just creating one of the tenants in the salesforce.com and using the CRM software. The third example, we are creating a web application and deploy it as a cloud service in Azure. In this case, you are responsible only for developing the web application. You just publish it from Visual Studio IDE directly to the Azure wherever you have subscription. This model, it will spawn a virtual machine and install operating system and all other required software, and then this application will be hosted in that particular cloud service. This is an example for platform as a service. That's all about the examples. Hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching this video and have a nice day.